Back here live at the Waterfront Village with my friend, the zombie, Jonathan. You're looking good. Jonathan just got an awesome face paint job. What do you think?
I like turtles.
It's now time for Big D Energy with four-time Stanley Cup champ Darren McCarty, former Lion Joik Bell, and the golden voice of Neil Rule. Live on the Woodward Sports Network, 99.1 and 93.5 The Roar, the Woodward Sports app, and anywhere you listen to podcasts. Let's talk some sports. It's Big D Energy.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Big D Energy right here.
Big D!
Woodward Sports Network. My name is Neil Rule. He's D-Mac, Darren McCarty. Won some Stanley Cups and things with the Detroit Red Wings. Only 4 of them, though.
And I make turtles. I like turtles, too.
He's not a big fan of turtles, everybody. Good to have you all back here with us. We got Fish in the bowl. We got Sawyer on the 1s and 2s. We are locked, loaded, and ready to go. And I will say this, D-Mac, this show here today, and also on our YouTube chat thread, remember, you can tap in as well. Always like to get everybody involved as much as we can. Detroit Dabber 313, what up, though? Popped in first, as always. I think that's going to be a thing every single show. We got to go to Detroit Dabber's comment. He's always a first in every single day. I don't know how he does it, but he does. That's the challenge to everyone out there. Can you beat Dabber? I doubt it.
You know what? He's got some sick mod, Sawyer. He's got some sick mod that he's not going to do it. But, hey, like we like streaks. We like winning and stuff like that. So we're going to comment until somebody can get him off there. But appreciate all the support from all the regulars and all the new people that are finding the Woodward Sports Big D Energy. So heated show today. Not very often. Like Neil has his opinions, but the one opinion that has happened sort of yesterday came out of nowhere to me, and I know we're going to talk.
I was hot, and I knew it was coming.
And you know what? So when this happens on Big D Energy, we don't just fester in ourselves. We go to the best possible source that we know. So we'll be joined, I think, 11:36 by Tony Paul. The Shane Halter. Yes.
Of the Detroit News. Big baseball guy.
News. That means a 9-position player.
Yeah.
That in one game, he can play it all, folks.
And here's why I go to Tony Paul. Tony Paul, somebody whose opinion I respect a lot, who puts in the time, who is true to the game, unlike a lot of probably baseball writers out there.
Pays his golf debts.
Pays his golf debts, pays his poker debts. That puts him up there in my book right
Absolutely.
away. No, but all that being said, because I'm running pretty hot. And Barry Bonds is my favorite non-Tiger baseball player of all time. He's the greatest baseball player of all time.
It's not even a question.
It's not a question. It is not a question.
You know what? When you brought up this is the whole thing when you're talking about Connor McDavid and head and shoulders, today's athlete, NHL player that is ahead of the next best player. Barry Bonds is ahead of anybody that played in his generation by what he did to that argument, even more so, in my opinion.
Right.
Like just the greatness of what he did. I mean, we're going to show some highlights and stuff like this if you're too young to remember. But I think when it comes down to it, Neil, it's the fact of different strokes for different folks. And when do the rules apply? The rules apply when they benefit you. And that's,
right.
We see that so much. We've talked about it in different sports. We've talked about it in college football. We've talked about it everywhere else. But it's more prevalent these days. And I think that just because you're so hot about this Major League Baseball Hall of Fame, that I believe that there's just such justification. But it forced the land where it made the map a little bit more. There's more clarity to the map across all the sports of just like yesterday. What do we bring up? The $70 billion that Microsoft spent on Activision Blizzard and stuff, where you can buy every NHL team twice over. I don't like to hear that being an NHL guy, but that's the reality of where everything is. And counterpoint, you could only buy 22 of the 32 NFL franchises, which also shows you how big the money is.
That's amazing, D-Mac, that you pulled that out of that. And I never, and I'm a big numbers guy. You guys know that. I'm big on contracts, draft capital, all that kind of stuff. I never thought for a second about that You use that as a referendum on the leagues and the status of the NHL in the grand scheme.
It goes to show you that the evil empire or whatever you want, that the NFL, and they do not lose steam. Everybody else is struggling, right? And they're getting better and better in the product and the entertainment, and people don't go away. You look at the numbers from last week, from the first game, which is a throw-in game of the Bengals and the Titans. They get 30-some million. Then it goes up to 37 million, to 42 million, to 47 million people watching football, right? They know it's hot. No wonder the commissioner makes 50 million a year. Whether we like it or not, at least he seems to be earning in his money. But when you look in the big scheme of things, because whether it's technology, social media, video games, and stuff like that, the metaverse, all this NFTs, Bitcoin, this stuff's real. It's not going away, so it's the evolution of who's going to adjust. NHL's playing so much more catch-up, right? MLB is so screwed if they don't get this contract right to get back and play. They're bleeding water like a sieve. This boat is sinking. The NBA, where it showed, I think it was 2017. Like they're
deepest in the international party,
right? Exactly, and that's why, right? Because right there is the international party and the individual, right? The individualist.
Right. They were the OG of that.
They are the NBA set up for the metaverse, for the NFTs, right? Because they're individuals, so people can like it. But the NFL's the monolith. But everything else like that goes to show, wow, like. In my opinion, right, people are just tuning off and they're watching other things. I'm going to say it right here, but my favorite sport is the one that picks up the steam the most with the Forbidden Door, but whether you want it, but wrestling on every other level, because people are having a choice. Now, it's not a major force sport, but people are choosing to spend their money on that than they are, on baseball games. It goes back to our conversation yesterday about accessibility and how you watch and the experience. But yeah, it's crazy out there. It goes back, what do I mention? I go, well, what's worse, the energy guy controlling the
the college football
NCAA
playoff,
MLB,
having a say,
right? Like but the bottom line, there's a lot of head scratching in the sports world, in the world, and everything else.
And that's where it is with me. I got a lot of head scratching going on right now. Our YouTube chat thread, remember, you can tap in, get your thoughts out there. Ryan's reaction says, Neil's opinion is that rules don't apply to him. LOL. It's not, they do the item thing for time. They don't do it for an item count. They do it for time. And my time with 31 items is faster than someone else with 15 or 20. It is. I'll line it up. I've always said that. Line it up and time it, and we'll see who gets through quicker. You want to tell me that, some person that doesn't understand how to work an ATM but jumps into the U-Scan line, you're going to tell me them with 12 items is going to be more efficient or quicker than me with 31? No, it's not true. I put the items in the cart in groups together so they can be most efficiently bagged when I scan them through. There's no process to it. Scan, drop, scan, drop,
there is
scan,
an art
drop.
to scanning.
Yeah, scan, drop, scan, drop, scan, drop. I load those bags up.
Hey, should it be like Squid Games? If you go and you don't beat the time, then you know what I mean? You get
then you got to pay double for your groceries.
You get kneecapped or something.
Yeah, no, you got to pay double for your groceries. That's the way it should go.
Every time that you expire, you get fined.
Ryan, easy, all right? I'm on tilt today, man. So just calm down with that kind of stuff. But no, we are going to talk to Tony Paul, as I said, about the Detroit News. Off the chain, Barry Bonds sucks without PEDs. David Ortiz.
Oh, boy.
David Ortiz. I'm not talking about the PEDs again. David Ortiz is in. You look me in the eye, tell me David Ortiz is clean?
He's the greatest recipient of that era. I mean, that's the head scratcher.
There's allegedly positive test by David Ortiz.
But there's the head scratcher. Why not different strokes? Like, before we get into it, it's like if you're going to narrate history, you got to put it all in there. Why can you not just from this year to this year, you asterisk, and if you were in there or there was anything else, you still get in? But I don't understand. Different strokes for different folks. Like this is the worst. Absolutely.
And you know what? Yeah. D-Mac, you look like you're ready to go ice fishing today. I will say this too, and I did think about this.
It is very cold.
What's the date today? The 26th,
26th.
Right? January. Yeah. Look at D-Mac out there. You know what? To that point, Sawyer, today was the day. This morning I got in the car. I've had enough.
It's winter.
No, it's not even that. I've had enough, and it's bad because it's still January.
Let's go.
Usually I get that in February, about the middle of February. Today was the day I've had enough. And I think it's different for everybody out there. You guys probably have your different breaking points with winter. Today was the day, Sawyer. I've had enough.
Temperatures are warming up next week. We'll bounce back.
I don't care. I've had enough. And I know it's early.
It's just 3 days and then back to warmer next week.
And I've lived here my whole life, born and raised here. I get it. It happens like this every single year. I know. And usually my breaking point comes sometime in February. Well, it's today. And it's early, and I'm concerned about that, D-Mac.
Is your breaking point, is that because of last night it started?
No,
This
no,
took
no,
it over? This
that's
is
independent.
A separate breaking point? So you just got breaking points all over.
I'm devoid of emotion, D-Mac. You know that, right? I've been
I
told
know
that.
you
I'm
are,
just
except
logic and facts.
Logic and
I separate
facts.
it all.
Is it the furnace thing? Because the furnace
No.
issue, that's not to do with the cold. You're just done with the cold.
No, they're taking care of the furnace right now as we speak.
Can you not key fob from your bedroom?
So it hasn't
and
been
warm
fixed?
your car up? Is that there?
No.
Did the battery run out of the key fob?
It hasn't been fixed for a week. How did you survive?
They got it going temporarily.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Because the heater exchange was warped and all that kind of stuff. Furnace had aluminum heater exchange, all that. I'm not getting into all that. I don't care. It's handled. You know,
It is cold, though.
And it's cold. I've had enough, and I'm curious to where. What is your guys' break? Have you had enough yet? And I understand. Save your. Oh, where you been, Neil? It happens every single winter. I know. Born and raised here my whole life. Doesn't change the fact that it sucks. Doesn't change the fact that, there comes that day every single year where I wake up and I'm like, all right, enough. Absolutely enough. And that's where it is, D-Mac. Like,
I agree.
Today was the day.
Okay. I mean, I walked home yesterday. It's about a 3-mile walk. It was cold, but it was nice.
You're kidding.
No.
Mad respect. That's respect.
Yeah.
You did not walk home yesterday.
I did.
It actually wasn't. To his credit,
some phone calls
it actually wasn't that bad yesterday. It
wasn't.
Yesterday morning was rough. Yesterday afternoon was fine.
It wasn't that bad though, because the wind wasn't.
That's
all
all it
like
is.
an old man,
as long as the wind's not there, right? What I don't like about now looking out is not seeing snow or being able to do snow activities like go up north or snowmobile or stuff like that. Then it's acceptable. But it is cold. It is cold. When the car says, "Are you kidding me? Don't move until I sit here for a minute." When the car is telling you that, you know it's cold.
Yeah. Tammy Chin says, here, this one has had enough. And that's where I just want to know, because usually, again, I get to this point in February, but it's now. It's now, right? Today was the day. I cracked. Today was the day. It's over. I can't take it anymore. I have some stuff coming up for work. I have to go to Fort Lauderdale in March. I already can't wait. Like, the days can't come quick enough. And I'm going there for work. I go down on a Friday and I come back Sunday morning. I spend all day Saturday working. I don't even it's not like I go to the beach or go play golf.
But we all know this. And because we're all the same, that go from here and we travel, and you get off that plane or you get out of the car,
and you're just
and you walk in,
you just feel better.
You're going down the runway, and the heat hits you, and you're so happy, and then you come home, and then the cold hits you, and you're back to reality. But you know what, though, Neil? Here's the one thing that all us Michigander and transplants and whatever know is how to enjoy that time and sort of like recharge that battery for that minimal 48 hours or whatever. Because
even if it's 15 minutes,
it doesn't matter. You're gonna embrace it, suck it in.
Because legit,
get your toes in the sand.
Yeah,
do
like
something.
It's legitimate. D-Mac, like, I get off the plane, I get in the Uber, I go to the studio, I work, I go back to the hotel. The next day, I go to the studio, I do work, I go back to the hotel, and then I get on the plane and go home. That's literally it. Daniel Gray in our YouTube chat thread says, my breaking point was last night when some middle-aged guy calling everyone sus got in the 15 or less items lane with 30 items. So, hey, we all reach our breaking point at different points. I would tell you this, though, Daniel Gray. I bet that guy moved his ass through the U-scan, though, and got it cooking. What do you got, Fish?
Does the U-scan line, I know it's probably an unwritten rule, but does the U-scan line even have a limit?
Yes.
It does. Okay.
There's
It's
a
20.
no limit. Depends where you're at.
Sometimes
no
15,
limit. Sometimes there's
it's
12.
20, yeah.
Sometimes there's whatever. Right?
Every now and then you get a U-scan. Yeah, that's a Master P U-scan. There's no limit, you know.
Aha.
Yeah, like I would assume it's just an unwritten rule that it's like 15 or 20. Like, you shouldn't go in there if you have 100 items.
I don't disagree with that. As long as I can take a comparable amount of time to somebody with 10 or 15.
If you're fast, you should be able to go in there with 30 items.
Like, it should say
if you're going to pay with
12
cash,
items or 2 minutes.
What's it? Yeah,
12
you should get a clock.
2 minutes or whatever.
Like, if you're going to pay with cash instantly, you're out. You can't go to the U-Scan if you're going to pay with cash. You can't do it.
Especially if you're fidgeting with your wallet.
Yeah. And part of it's on like the grocery stores too. Like,
it's in the other pocket.
Yeah. I don't have time for that stuff. The cash people, no, you're out. You're out. So everyone's talking about the 2 furnaces, and it's getting handled right now. We're going to be back to fully up and operational.
Is it in your basement, by the way, the furnace?
Yeah, both of them, yes.
Now, what if you had, like, 10 of the same item? Is that one item?
I've always wondered about that. Some people it depends on your narrative. It's like the Baseball Writers of America. It depends on your narrative.
Like, say you were loading up for a party. Say you were loading up for that Get You Right special on a Saturday night. Say you were going through with some... What kind of vodka would you be drinking?
Well, I mean, if it were a Saturday night, you know it's going to be Gypsy. That's just the way it's going to work. It's going to be Gypsy vodka. It's going to be some ice cubes. It's going to be some club soda. It's going to be some lime. And why? Look, I'll give you all the particulars. Corn distilled 6 times, gluten-free, artesian spring water.
Ooh-wee.
You know, that's impressive. It is. Bottom line for me, I'm pretty simple, guys. You know this. I pour it in there. It tastes good. That's it. It's good tasting vodka. It's got a cool bottle. I got it, it's on the screen. I got a bottle right there, too. It's a cool looking bottle. That's fine. Some people are into that. Do you. Do what you want to do. For me, it's good vodka. That's the best thing I can say about it. Their taglines and corporate speak and all that kind of stuff. If you want good vodka, get Gypsy Vodka and then go through the U-Scan and scan it, and then you'll have to wait for them to come over and check the ID and do the ID thing. That's not my fault. That's their what they have to do.
We should talk about that after the break.
We should talk about that after the break. But anyway, Gypsy Vodka, locally made in Petoskey, Michigan. Support local guys from the state of Michigan and drink damn good vodka while you're at it too. Gypsy Vodka. As always, drink responsibly.
Okay, you thirsty little spin goblins. I want you to pedal into the next dimension. Spin it! Spin! Spin! Uh-oh! Carmen's falling behind. Let's give her the hiss of shame. Spin! Spin! Spin till you bleed!
Don't ride the bike of shame. Come to Planet Fitness and find your own lane with tons of equipment, free fitness training, and no hissing. Join today for just $10 a month.
Your Detroit alternative to the normal sports blah, blah, blah. It's Woodward Sports.
Back at it, Big D Energy, Woodward Sports Network. Harley Fife says, maybe I'll get some Gypsy Vodka for Saturday night when I'm watching the WWE Royal Rumble pay-per-view.
Yeah, you are.
Harley, I'll say, I'll lift a glass to you because I'll be doing the same thing. I'll be getting it in. Saturday night, I got an afternoon television game to do for Oakland.
3 o'clock.
3 o'clock. I get that handled. Got Saturday night off. Got a Sunday off. D-Mac. Son wants to watch Royal Rumble.
Did I hear you have a Sunday off?
I do.
I'll be watching the Royal Rumble later at night, or on Sunday I will be down in maybe Michigan for the RPW wrestling event. All the big hosses are in town, so we're going down to maybe, which is down near the to Ohio border. So look forward to that. I'll be there, but I'll catch that. I look forward to the Royal Rumble.
Yep.
That's always one of my favorites.
Yeah, my son likes it a lot, and that's what I like the WWE. You know that. I mean, I'm not deep into it like they are,
No.
but I can watch it for the entertainment value. I like the characters, all
Right,
that kind of stuff. So it's a lot of fun.
Man.
It is a lot of fun. The Stafford people were having a lot of fun, and I know there's going to be a segment of you or a faction of you that's going to say, "Oh God, we got to go through this again." Dave Burkett put out a good story in the Free Press and talked about Stafford, is he a Hall of Famer or not? And it was very, very intriguing because I know the snap reaction is, and I've even said it. I said it yesterday. I said, to me, you finish top 5 in yardage, you're in the Hall of Fame. It's like the Frank Gore debate to me. Frank Gore's a Hall of Famer. Is he dynamic? Did you ever hold your breath saying, man, I can't wait to what? Was it ever Frank Gore in the Colts?
That's longevity.
It's a longevity thing.
He's done things that nobody else has done, or it's very few have done. That what leads up to it. I guess it goes down to, at the end of the day, right? Different strokes for different folks. What is the end-all, be-all criteria, right? Obviously, Dan Marino's in the Hall of Fame, so it's not Super Bowl, right? So that's what goes to, okay, Matt Stafford, comparable Dan Marino numbers and stuff like this. So the head jerk reaction is, yeah, of course. We always sort of accept it that way, but then, then Dave Burkett will bring up some interesting points. And I think that more to it, what I realized is that these playoff wins and what he does in LA was as important to take it to the next level.
Yeah, no doubt.
Put it over the top. So to me, in saying that and what Burkett said and everything else, see, Stafford's done it. It's like I said, he's put himself in a position, and it's just as a man looking in the mirror and saying, I did this. He's a different person, and it's the thing we always know here is that he's not going to quit, right? He's not going to quit. It's not stuff like that. So I think that the end of the discussion for me is he wins and gets to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, and look, Burkett made me question what I said, because I thought it was a no-brainer, because if he continues his career, say he plays 5 or 6 more years, which it's reasonable to think he should. He's a pretty durable player. He usually answers a bell and gets out there. Burkett brought up the fact he's never received one single MVP vote in his career. Not one. Which is incredible to me, because and like I knew it, but that's one of those things but you don't know. And then when it hits you, when it's put in front of your face like that, you're like, wow, man, that really is incredible to think. And then I start thinking about it. I'm like, well, can you be a Hall of Famer if you've never received an MVP vote? You know what I'm saying?
You could, if that's whatever the criteria is, and if it's duration and because of
he will this year, of course, though.
Right. You would expect, but yeah, I guess for the naysayers that'd be the number one argument against, right? You'd hold up against it, but but what he's done in LA has sort of solidified and moving forward.
But that's why it's big, and that's why I love the NFL
that's
playoffs.
Why it's bigger. That's why him winning that game isn't just about winning that game.
For him, yes.
For him, it's everything that piles on to it positively of what people say, well, he could never do this, he could never do that. Now they can't say that.
Right. And that's where, for me, it becomes so big, again, to win the Super Bowl, to get to the Super Bowl, because you're talking about defining your legacy. That's why I do like the NFL playoffs, because it's more than the Rams versus 49ers. Legacies are on the line. Look at what happened to Aaron Rodgers, like we talked about yesterday, where his legacy has taken a hit. Now all of a sudden the narrative is he's a 500 quarterback in the postseason. He cashed one Super Bowl in. He's won as many NFC championships as Rex Grossman. All of a sudden, he got pushed into the same discussion with Rex Grossman. And that's why the NFL playoffs are great. And your legacy is on the line, and we're seeing that with Matt Stafford here today. Daniel Gray says 17 interceptions. He might not be mentioned in that MVP race this year. Brady and Rodgers might take all the votes. And that's fair, too. So you go back to it then. Now, look, and I know, Sawyer, that you have the video. And this is like a long way of getting to this. And I wanted to say, look, you guys know, I hope you know, I'm not a Matt Stafford hater. Tony Paul, who we'll talk to in a little bit about the Baseball Hall of Fame, I think put it best. Stafford wasn't the problem, and at the same time, Stafford wasn't the solution. And my issue is that he wasn't the solution. But it's not being a hater. I respect what he did. I think I think when it's all said and done, he will be in the Hall of Fame, regardless of what happens this weekend. But for me, I can't relate to this, Sawyer. So spin that one, and you guys tell me. Look, I know a lot of you are happy about Stafford and stuff like that. I'm indifferent because he's not here anymore and he's not coming back. I'm indifferent. That's different than being a hater. But again, help me understand this.
Clock it! Clock it! Clock it! Get on the line! Clock that Clock it! Clock it!
So, like,
I love
that's
it. I love it. I love it. Be you, right? For whatever reason, we don't know what happened. Maybe Matt Stafford gave that kid a ball when he was a kid, or the influence to whatever. But the one thing is what I love is you see passion for whatever reason it is. I was yelling at the TV too, get up there and clock it. I could tell they had enough time, so I wasn't as worried as this guy. But you know what? Your emotions take part, right? Right there is a happy moment for that guy. Laugh at him all you want or whatever, but the passion to whatever he has invested.
I'm not going to laugh.
I'm not saying that. It's about, I look at that about, it could have been somebody just got body slammed. I don't take it into the fact. I take it into the fact that somebody has an emotional connection enough to this moment, this play, or whatever else. I love the positive of that. Some people have the emotional connection that they hate it or whatever. Okay, be you. I can watch this all day because I react the same way like you saw in wrestling the other day, right? We're popping. I'll be doing the same thing on Saturday. So be you, bro. Good for you. I don't understand when you break it down, your emotional connection, but that's your emotional connection, right? Nobody else's. So I don't care, right? Love what you love and don't be mad. You want to break it down to answer questions? Well, the fact that Matthew Stafford completed that pass and they clocked it and they won, oh, that stinks for draft capital. But like I said, my opinion, where the Lions are at, I could give a crap where they pick. I want to see my guy do something I haven't seen him do that I've been waiting for him to do here. I was hoping him to do it, right? And he didn't. But for what he did and the person that he is to do here, I want to see him succeed. Or we find out succeed or fail, but he's doing it. And my guy there, he was way behind him. So do you, right? Right? If there's a hate, if that's the same video of the guy just swearing up and down, oh my God, I hate you, like this and that, I'd be saying the same thing. I don't agree with it, but do you? It's the passion. Be passionate, people. Whatever it is about, that's what life's all about. Just love what you love, and you know, it's all about the respect. He didn't do anything disrespectful to anything else. His girlfriend trying to bust him out right there, but he don't care because that's his jam. Jam, baby.
Chef Chris Smith said that was way too much, but enjoy yourself. And that's what I say too, man. Enjoy yourself. Again, if that's what makes you happy, that's not my thing, like I said. And that just kind of encapsulates it, but it is. If you get a chance to check out Dave Burkett's article, do so. He brought up some pretty... and again, I'm one of those people. I think Stafford is a Hall of Famer.
Is that overreaction? Yeah.
Okay, there we go.
To me, but you also, too, is that you catch me on camera. You saw me win the death match, get in the ring the other day, and you saw me pop when Brandon Kurtz went through the table. You watch me at a wrestling event, I pop when I enjoy things and it makes me feel. You'll see it. My man was feeling it.
All right. When we come back, we'll be joined by Tony Paul of the Detroit News, and we'll chat. We will discuss, the whole Barry Bonds should be in the Hall of Fame thing. That's what it's going to be for me, and we'll get Tony Paul's opinions on it as well. I'm very heated about this. How can you let David Ortiz in and be cool with that, and then you're going to look at Barry Bonds and say no, or Roger Clemens and say no, I'm sorry, you guys aren't getting in. We'll get Tony Paul here on the show coming up in just a couple minutes. This is Big D Energy right here on the Woodward Sports Network. And look, the NFL playoffs hot and heavy right now. We're coming down the stretch, making our way towards the Super Bowl. Where are you getting your action in it? Go to mybookie.ag. They'll double your first deposit up to $1,000 with the promo code Woodward. It's the biggest sports weekends of the year coming up right now. Get involved, people. Mybookie.ag. Promo code Woodward. They'll double the first deposit up to $1,000, as I said, but that's not even the big thing for me. The big thing is go to mybookie.ag. Smooth. The interface is smooth. It's easy to navigate. Those are the types of things that you're going to find out that matter. Mybookie.ag. Look, who you bet with is almost as important as who you're betting on. And mybookie.ag is the play. There is no doubt about it. One more time, they'll double that first deposit all the way up to $1,000 with the promo code Woodward. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere with MyBookie. Have a problem with gambling? Call the Michigan Problem Gambling Helpline, 1-800-270-7117.
Fellas, football season is here. It's time to make your grooming experience easy like Sunday morning. Get to Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. Walk in, relax, watch your favorite team play, and before you know it, your hair will be game ready. Get to Lady Jane's, open 10 to 8, 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. It's wicked awesome.
Hi, I'm Cade Cunningham. Working with HOF Financial to purchase my first home was easier than I could have ever imagined. They treated me like family from start to finish. Find out for yourself at callhoffirst.com.
Follow us everywhere. Just search Woodward Sports on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, IG, and more.
Back at it, Big D Energy, Woodward Sports Network, Neil Rule, D-Mac, Darren McCarty in the house. And, yes,
I follow that kid.
Steroids ruin baseball. We're going to get into that discussion coming up in just a couple of minutes with Tony Paul from the Detroit News. And, he covers sports, obviously, for the Detroit News, and we'll pick his brain on that big baseball guy he is. But D-Mac, for me, and we're not talking about the PED thing or the steroid thing, because look, and I'll ask Tony Paul this, don't worry, but David Ortiz is in. With steroid suspicions, a rumored positive test, all that kind of stuff. That's it. We're done. I'm done talking about it, man. I am. It's all on the field, because if you're going to let David Ortiz in, then Barry Bonds has to be in there. He's the greatest baseball player that's ever lived, Darren.
I mean, I can't disagree with you. I mean, it's like that whole steroid area. If you're telling my big thing is, if you're telling history, right, you have to tell history. You can't omit this, especially with those of us who are alive that went through the Sosa McGuire home run chase that brought baseball back into watching Barry Bonds smash the record, all this stuff like this. Yeah, greatest baseball player of my era to watch, and it's just calling it like it says. Why can't there be these Hall of Fame guys or whatever played in this era, and this is what was suspected of going on or whatever like this? Take it for what you will. These are the stats. This is it. Different things like that. My question is, and this is what I'll be asked for: how can the people like sit there and vote and go like you said? Oh, David Ortiz. Yeah, we heard, the rumors and the same rumors as going on with Bonds and Clemens and all this stuff, no matter what part of it, and go, well, he was beloved in Boston. People beloved him. He's on TV. He's all that stuff. He's got to get in because it's for image. But these guys, what changed so even they allowed Ortiz in, right? Because I would have thought that all the skeptical steroid, always keeping it at arm's length, but this just opens up a can of whoop ass. You know what I'm saying?
Right. And right now, as promised, we are joined by Tony Paul of the Detroit News. Follow him on Twitter at TonyPaul1984. Remember, you can subscribe to the Detroit News, too, at DetroitNews.com. Tony, appreciate your time. When some stuff pops in the baseball world, I'm going to reach out to you and get you on. Before I pollute the airwaves with my thoughts, I'm curious to get your take on this, Tony. David Ortiz in, Barry Bonds, Roger Clemens out. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I don't think there's anything surprising. It's been trending this way for a long time, so no shocker. But yeah, I mean, it's a little confusing because of David Ortiz supposedly failed that drug test. Now he failed it when they did that anonymous testing before it was really banned from the game. But he definitely has tied to it, and just like Clemens and Bonds are. So it's a little confusing that he would sail in on the first ballot, and Bonds and Clemens would be shut out. It's a little confusing, and it doesn't make the Hall of Fame look great.
Well, Tony, I mean, it's just another thing to me where you talk about it doesn't make the Hall of Fame look great. Could this be another blow to baseball? And the reason I ask that, Tony, is because it seems across the board, as far as fans are concerned, for the most part. I mean, I would say from what I've seen on social media, probably a 75-25 split where, you have your traditionalists that say, oh, he cheated, don't let him in. But I would say for the most part, people are of the opinion that this is one of, if not the best player, and you know this, Tony. You and I talk outside of work and stuff like that. You know I'm a big Barry Bonds slappy. I don't hide that. But with all that being said, in my eyes, he's the best player to ever play the game. We had a message here from a guy named Pete that said, "How can you call it a Hall of Fame if the best player or second best player to ever play is not in it?"
Well, I mean, that's a fair question, and the reality is he's not in the Hall of Fame, and it's a void that the Hall of Fame is going to have to deal with. I don't think it's a major blow for baseball. I think that the Hall of Fame is separate from the game itself. Baseball is doing just fine; they're making record profits, so I don't think it's a major blow, but it's definitely opens up some questions of what this Hall of Fame is. And Jim Leland spoke today in an interview asking, is it the Promised Land or the Holy Land, that the Hall of Fame is? And I think that's a good question. The Hall of Fame has that clause, the morals clause, which has been broken time and again over the years. I mean, if you go back and look at many players from the early 20th century and even more recently, there's definitely guys in there that are either they're tied to steroids or they're tied to racism or whatnot. They're just not. There's some guys in there that just aren't very good guys, and you have this morals clause that all of a sudden, for the steroid guys, Barry Bonds and Roger Clemens in particular, is all of a sudden a big sticking point. So it's just it just doesn't make a lot of sense. And I've evolved on this. When this first came out, and Bonds and Clemens, look, they cheated the game and they exploited the stats. The record books, which were once so sacred in baseball, are not what they used to be, and it's a large part because of them. But my opinion changed when the Veterans Committee put Bud Selig in the Hall of Fame. And Bud Selig was the commissioner of baseball who completely turned a blind eye to the steroid era. And if he's in the Hall of Fame, you can't convince me that Barry Bonds and Roger Clemens shouldn't be in there.
Well, that's the whole thing. We're talking to Tony Paul, who is a five-tool athlete, the Shane Halter. Yes, he can play all 9 positions at the Detroit News.
Was a 5-tool guy, but
I love it. I love it. At Tony Paul, 1984. My question, that was my question to you, Tony, because my whole thing is I don't care right or wrong. Like, put a wing in there where they're inducted, but it tells the story of the steroid era. And the fact that I have a problem because I remember back, you're seeing interviews with guys like Mark McGwire and there's this Andro in their locker. Like, it wasn't like you said to the Bud Selig, or it was accepted. So these guys were playing within what was accepted by the league, and there's no accountability. For a guy that covers this sport for the career, where do you sit on, and obviously it's not a moral issue, it's more of the promised land to the righteous land, like you said, but do they need to fix the narrative? Because I don't whether about the gold jacket or not, but there needs to be the story, or else we're going to miss the story years down the line, won't we?
Yeah, there's a couple points in that. One, I heard a couple people griping yesterday on social media about how can you keep these guys out of the Hall of Fame? You're ignoring a huge part of baseball history. Well, if you've been to the Hall of Fame, the Hall of Fame doesn't ignore the moments in the history. Barry Bonds and Pete Rose and Roger Clemens, their moments are acknowledged in the Hall of Fame. It's not ignored. They don't have their plaques. So I will say that. But as far as moving forward, I think the Hall of Fame is going to have to some way come up with a plan to acknowledge this era. It wasn't just a one-guy thing. It wasn't just a one-year thing. This was a 15-year, 20-year chunk of baseball history where this went on. And you can't ignore that if you're going to have a legitimate Hall of Fame. So over the years, the Hall of Fame has had all these committees. They've put in, big groups of people that they felt were overlooked, whether it was in the pre-segregation era, the Negro Leagues, whatnot, and they've made up for that. And I think in some way they might have to take a look at the steroid era and make up for that and put these guys in down the road in a separate, they're Hall of Famers, but like you said, acknowledging the history, acknowledging the fact that they played in the steroid era, they were major figures in the steroid era, but their talent and their stats just can't be ignored.
Talking to Tony Paul here on Big D Energy Woodward Sports Network, talking about the Hall of Fame results. Barry Bonds not in, Roger Clemens not in, David Ortiz is in, and all three of those names are synonymous with reports and allegations and all those things. I'm just saying that's what it is. Do a Google search, you can look it up yourself. Go to DetroitNews.com, by the way. You can subscribe. I love the print edition app. That's what I have on my tablet every morning. Bust open the newspaper like I used to back in the day. I do enjoy that. But, Tony, here's my thing, and this might put you in a bit of a weird spot because you're friends with a lot of these people. But the baseball writers of America, why is it okay for them to pick and choose who they thought was on steroids or maybe didn't think was on steroids, or who they did think, but that's okay for them, but it's not okay for others? When their income went up throughout this whole era, when their following went up, when profits were bigger, when they were getting more reads and everything like that, when they all had the opportunities before to be quote-unquote good reporters and find out exactly what was going on with this offensive explosion, why is it okay for them to retroactively police everybody? Why is it okay for them to be the gatekeepers on morality?
Well, for starters, the Baseball Hall of Fame has given the power to the writers, and so it's their responsibility, and so they're tasked with doing it. And every person that has a vote, the qualifications are you have to be a Baseball Writers Association of America member for 10 years. After that, you get a vote, and they're charged with looking at the standards, the qualifications, and making their best choice. And I know writers are being raked over the coals today, and that's fine. But a very strong majority of writers believe these guys are Hall of Famers. Let's not overlook that. I mean, the Baseball Hall of Fame has a 75% threshold to get in, which is very high, and these guys are in the mid-60s. So the majority of writers believe they should be in the Hall of Fame. I think if you want to make a case of the problem here, I think you got to put it on the Hall of Fame itself and not the writers. It's the Hall of Fame that says, one, the writers can only vote for a maximum of 10 players, which cluttered up the ballot when all these steroid guys came in. So that was a problem. I think if you think a guy is a Hall of Famer, there should be a limit on how many guys you can vote for. If you believe they're a Hall of Famer, you should be able to vote for them. Two, the Hall of Fame went in recent years. It used to be you could be on the ballot for 15 years. The Hall of Fame, out of nowhere, limited that to 10 in recent years, which basically shut off any chance of Clemens and Bonds getting in. They were trending up. If you look at the numbers, they're trending up, and they were probably going to get in if they got another 5 years. I think the Hall of Fame made a statement on what they think about this. So I think you could blame the writers, and that's fine. But if you look, the majority of writers believe these guys are Hall of Fame caliber, and I believe the Hall of Fame, in not saying it, but with their actions, kind of forced the hand here. And I think if you're going to blame anybody, I think you need to blame the Hall of Fame.
Okay, and that's
I
fair,
blame
Tony.
the Hall of Fame, but how does it change? How does it ever change until like the inevitable where the people in charge have to move on?
Yeah, I mean, that's a different discussion.
That's it.
That's it.
Yeah, no,
at the end of the day, sometimes that's the only solution.
Tony, man, I appreciate your time, certainly. In 30 seconds, Tony, do you have a problem with David Ortiz getting in and Bonds and Clemens not?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's inconsistent. I think they're all Hall of Famers. I don't think there's any question about that. I don't have a problem with David. Yeah, and that's what I hate about this whole thing, too, is David Ortiz is being a little bit diminished here because he did get in. It's not his fault that these guys voted for him and not the other guys. They're all Hall of Famers, clearly. So it's inconsistent, but I don't have any problem with David Ortiz getting in.
All right, well, Tony, again, appreciate your time, man. I'll be hitting you up for poker tips and golf swing tips and everything like that coming up very soon, my friend.
See you on the course, bud.
Yeah. All right, gentlemen, thank you.
All right, Tony Paul, everybody, Detroit News. Follow him on Twitter at TonyPaul1984. Subscribe to the Detroit News, too, DetroitNews.com. They got a print edition for your tablet. It's beautiful, man. Every morning I fired up, eating breakfast, and reading the paper. Another thing I like to do pretty much every day, at least Monday through Friday, I roll through Planet Fitness.
Spin goblins.
That is right. Home of the judgment-free zone where you can work out in a non-intimidating, judgment-free atmosphere. The membership, it's easy. $10 a month. That'll get you into your local Planet Fitness. They have a black card option at $22.99 per month. You get the hydro massage chairs, total body enhancement, all that stuff. For me, access to over 2,000 locations worldwide, unlimited guest privileges as well. And they're everywhere. When you travel, they're everywhere. Planet Fitness, to me, I can't recommend them enough. My home club here is the one right up here on Maple Road in Troy. Great staff in there. Very clean club. Really enjoy my experience there at Planet Fitness. Can't recommend them enough. And like I said, I actually go there. It's like the Gypsy Vodka thing. I actually use it. I can firsthand tell you. Very, very happy there. And I think you would be too at Planet Fitness. You can join in club or online today at planetfitness.com. Right now, $0 down, $10 a month. Get in there. Give it a try. See if it's for you. Because once you give it a try, you'll be in there. That's the way I honestly feel about it. Right now, too, they're hiring all positions. For more information, if you want to work at Planet Fitness, go to planetfitness.com today.
It took exploring 50 different formulas and hosting countless taste tests, but we believe Gypsy Vodka is the smoothest vodka on the market. Don't believe us? Ask the owners.
We're Mike and Adam Kazanowski with High Five Spirits Distillery. We're in close to about 1,200 locations throughout Michigan. We wanted to create a brand that was geared more towards freedom, love, adventure, and at the end of the day, we really wanted to tell a story that inspired other people to take risks, follow their dreams, whatever that might be.
Woodward Sports. Missed part of the show today? Watch again on YouTube or download the podcast anywhere you listen to podcasts.
Oh,
Back
what do we
at
got?
it. Big D Energy, Woodward Sports Network, Neil Rule, Darren McCarty here in the house. We got Sawyer, we got Fish as well, and on our YouTube channel right now, we're playing the video.
Do you remember this?
Yes, I do remember this. We're playing the video. Barry Bonds, for those of you that don't know this, got intentionally walked with the bases loaded one time. The Diamondbacks were up 8-6 in the bottom of the ninth. The Giants had the bases loaded. Buck Showalter chose to intentionally walk Barry Bonds. And for me, D-Mac, that was the moment where they should have stopped the game and put him in the Hall of Fame.
He should have touched first base. They presented him with his Hall of Fame jacket.
He's the greatest player ever.
That doesn't happen, right? That's intimidation personified. My question is, what did Jeff Kent do after that?
They got the next hitter out and won the game.
They did.
Yeah.
So smart. And then for anybody else, just want to see, could he really hit a ball? I think he hit this one 684 feet in training. But just the talent and I seen something say that no supplement ever hit a ball as far, threw a ball, or did whatever else. To me, it's Tony said it. It's the inconsistency, right, of not showing consistency if you are the end-all, be-all place, right? If you're the holy grail, the holy lamb, but they broke that a while ago, like he mentioned throughout the years. So I just want the narrative that if I walked in, right, came from another planet or was born 100 years later and baseball, if it was still going, or, they used to play this game, and there's this guy, and this is what they did, they were using that stuff. I heard about that back in the day. It'd be like us going back in the 1800s.
Here's my thing, too, D-Mac, and Joe Smith on our YouTube chat thread says Ortiz was a juicer as well. And that's where it stops for me. And again, that's why I'm not even talking about the PED stuff. Where
that's the inconsistency.
You can chop Barry Bonds' career in half. Chop it in half, and he's still the greatest player to ever play. You guys understand. He is a 500 home run, 500 stolen base guy.
He's a different, and here's the thing: he was still an unbelievable player. It's just the evolution from, this center fielder, this outfielder with all the speed and maybe not as much power, to the power guy that still had the speed, that had the greatest eye. He had the greatest eye in the world, right?
Yeah.
How many times that he would walk? I mean, the selectivity was unbelievable.
500 home runs, 500 stolen bases. I know he went up above 700 home runs, but 500 home runs, 500 stolen bases. Nobody in baseball ever has done that. Nobody was even 300 except for one player, his dad. Like it's not a debate.
Yeah.
There's no discussion, to me anyway, that he is the greatest overall baseball player of all time. And if he's not in your Hall of Fame as Pete said before, then you don't have a Hall of Fame because that's comical. And David Ortiz is in. There's two things with David Ortiz. Number one, as Joe Smith said, he's a juicer as well. And number two, he wore that shirt when he got the call.
But
did you see the shirt he had on when he got the call? I go back and forth. Like, I'm like, I don't know about it. But then again, it could be the greatest shirt ever worn during a Hall of Fame call. Soy will put that up in a minute on the YouTube channel.
Here's the whole thing, right? Where the David Ortiz, the MLB went the opposite of what they did with Schilling, with Bonds, or whatever. They made him the face. Right? They made David Ortiz the face of MLB, so you knew this was inevitably coming, but it's just the fact is where's the consistency?
Yeah, and my problem is with the baseball writers. That's where it is for me. And Tony Paul brought up a good point, and I didn't consider it. He did get 66% of the vote, so 66% of baseball writers thought he should be in, which is fair, and that's a great point by Tony. Maybe I'll dial it back just a little bit. Naki23 says, don't ever piss off a writer if you plan on making the Hall of Fame. That's my problem with it, that somebody who votes for it is going to put their own personal feelings inside it.
Wouldn't you have so much more respect for a writer that said, I absolutely disagree with everything they did and whatever that, but because of whatever else.
But it's not about you, baseball writer.
No, but where it's I disagree, where he personally doesn't whatever, but can realize that it's bigger than that and say, like, I would get the one that says, no, this, I'm against it, but in the bigger scheme of things, because the Baseball Hall of Fame is bigger than me, he deserves to be in because the stats on the field.
And they can't do that, and that's what people can't do these days.
We need more people to stand up and make their own opinion.
It's not about this old guy baseball writer. There's Poppy's shirt, by the way, that he wore when he was getting the call.
Big pimpin' Poppy.
Sawyer, what do you think about that shirt?
It's a fresh shirt. I'm not gonna lie. It's a good
I go
one.
back and forth.
Yeah, I mean, it looks super comfortable, but it's so soft. You know what I'm saying?
It's fresh
like
and
silk.
clean.
It's fresh
Sawyer
to death,
could rock
isn't it?
that.
Would you rock that, Sawyer?
Oh, yeah, I'd rock that.
You
like
wear
a
that
nice
at a
going
He'd
to the
rock
beach.
that at the Foaling Warehouse for the deuces.
Going to the beach, little pina colada in hand.
You would rock. Sawyer, you'd wear that at the Saturday night frat party, wouldn't you?
That'd be a good one, yeah.
It would be a good one. It'd be quality. I guess that's my problem with all this, though, is my problem is with the baseball writer that makes it about them. And we see this with the Heisman. That's why I have a big problem with the Heisman voters, too. A, there's too many Heisman voters. But B, I don't like that stuff. And look, there's different media stuff that I vote on too. I don't care about any of that stuff. I don't care about how they are as a person. I don't care whether or not I like them or don't like them. It doesn't matter to me. I vote for the Michigan Sports Hall of Fame. I don't care what they do.
Here's the thing, right? Most of the time, the voters are anonymous. So there's
that's
no
ultimately my
accountability.
thing.
So the fact that if we could call up and people would stand behind it in today's day and age, the lack of accountability, because if somebody who has a vote explained why they didn't vote and kept it, then you have to sort of, it's like the Lions fan. You sort of got to say, okay, you got this position, you did the job, I don't like it, but you stuck up for yourself and you have a side instead of just going, well, because that's what they'd said or because that's what's been done before. So I don't know. Do you ever think it's going to change? Or are they done? Or is it a special exemption? 25
Well, yeah, they go to the Veterans Committee now, and then maybe the Veterans Committee can get them put in. I think ultimately they will, just because of the backlash that seems to be growing. So I think ultimately they will. Pat Riley says, Babe Ruth has all the stats and still has the lowest ERA in World Series history from his days with Boston. Could Bonds pitch? No. Ruth greater than Bonds. Well, if Bonds played then, we'd never know because they didn't let black people play then, if you want to go there, because that was a part of it too.
Bam.
And that's why I have a huge issue with that stuff as well.
So what about the one thing that Tony said, though, about baseball making money and this not really affecting the overall with the lock? Do you think this can't help, can it? Or is it more people like this doesn't really matter what the Hall of Fame does as far as their fandom to Major League Baseball, because we agree it's sort of deteriorating. They're not helping themselves out. It was interesting to say that they don't really worry about it because they're still making money.
Sure, and that's it too, because it fits the narrative, right? Again, going back to these writers that vote for this, through that whole steroid era, they grew their following, they grew their readership, they grew their income. They grew their income during that time too. And now, all of a sudden, they're the moral police and they're the gatekeepers. And D-Mac, look, I've told you guys this before. I'll always be honest about what I say here in this microphone. And I do this profession for money. I do. It's my job. It's what I do. It's not the main driver of me doing. Like, I love what I do. That's the main driver for it. But I do need money to live.
The bags of gas. You need gas for the car.
I got a furnace to pay for, man.
You got to get left, right, center, everywhere you go.
But I'm honest about that.
Got to fuel the plane. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I'm honest about that.
I think that's the one thing about Big D Energy is that you're going to always know where we stand. And we're honest about everything to a fault.
Yeah, and that's where, like, I'm never gonna be critical of an athlete that, you know, should they take a home? Just said no, I'm not going to take a home count. That's why I'm not critical of Ndamukong Suh the way some people are. Go to Florida and play, man. They're going to pay you more money, and you're going to pay less tax. That's what's important to you, man. Go do it. That's what you're about. You're doing it. You're a professional. Like, you're doing it for money.
Dude,
This is your employment.
I always tell this story is that Marty LaPointe, after we won in '98, and he was unrestricted, and Boston offered him like 4 years, $20 million. Detroit couldn't match that or whatever like that, and he literally in tears telling us like. How do I don't want to leave and stuff. And we're like, me, Dre, Small, Ozzy, we're like, if you don't leave, you idiot, and go take the money, you can always come back or whatever. But Bulldog, this is it. This sets the family up. This is like, always be the brother, and there was always outside. We always hoped that it would come back and play again. It never worked out, but we're still as tight to this day. But it's like one of those things is like, bro, go get your bag, bro.
Right.
Like, and that's it. But as athletes, it's tough sometimes because it's not about the money. Money's a motivating factor because of what it gets you, but it's that commitment to. What did you say to me earlier? I don't care who's involved as long as they.
As long as they care.
As long as they care. That's all. That's the prerequisite for Big D Energy is you got to care.
Yeah, absolutely. Matt Carrier said Lou Whitaker should be in the Hall of Fame. 1,000,000%. Go line it up with Joe Morgan. Everybody's hero. Everybody's second
Lou
baseman
Whitaker
hero.
And Chris Osgood. Here we go.
Chris Osgood.
There's the Detroit.
Yeah, those are two.
And Sergey to the rafters. Ooh, here we go. Let's get behind.
These are no-brainers, man. And retire George Kell's number too.
Oh, yeah.
I'll fight about that one, man.
Oh yeah.
You're
going to fight for the broadcast because he's the multi-tool athlete. He is
almost 30 years of service to the Tigers organization, was a Hall of Fame player. Period. End of story.
Player, broadcaster, working. Wow. Love it.
This should be a no-brainer.
Should be a no-brainer.
I'll tell you this. To me, they're right neck and I almost went in recency bias. I almost went in and said George Kell before Fedorov if you had to choose one, but I'll die on the hill for both of them.
Whoa. That's all right. Hey, can we get that clipped? Can you clip that for us? Neil saying George Kell?
Maybe. I know if there was a Foaling Hall of Fame. Well, I don't know that Sawyer would be in the Foaling Hall of Fame, but he'd be in the Mystery Beer Vending Machine Hall of Fame.
Oh, he definitely would. I mean, I think I got a nice run. If I go back, perform well these next few times, I could be in the Foaling Hall of Fame.
Hey, somebody said that was Chef Chris said that was a Versace sports shirt.
Ooh, okay. I'll have to do some research after the show.
Definitely.
Maybe I'll wear that the next time I go foaling.
That's it.
Everybody will know I mean business.
In order to hit the Foaling Hall of Fame, you got to hit the bonk.
Oh, yeah, dude. I was actually going to talk about that today in the Foaling Warehouse read. If you go and play, I mean, special thing called the bonk. It's not really mentioned a lot in the read, but there's actually a train horn on the first bar in the Foaling Warehouse. And if you hit a bonk, which is where you hit the middle pin down and nothing else falls, you get to unannounced just go pull that train horn, scare everybody in the Foaling Warehouse. I haven't had the honor of doing it yet, but I mean, I really want that bonk.
That's the Hall of Fame right there.
As much fun as the Mystery Beer Machine is, the bonk's next on the list for me. So all you got to do is go to the Foaling Warehouse in Hamtramck, giant warehouse, so many lanes to play. You can show up, pay $10, open to close, unlimited play, just throw till your arm falls off. Have as many mystery beers as you want. You can also rent private lanes for around $120, do corporate events. We had our Christmas party there, team building events, family reunions. You can think of it, you can do it. Bring your own food in. Make a picnic basket if you want. Bring a little blanket. Put it on the ground. Have some sandwiches, finger food. Uber Eats some food in. Joik loves doing that. Braylon brings us in some Chick-fil-A every once in a while if we go to the Foaling Warehouse or just for lunch here. It's always nice to get some food. Uber Eats it. Bring it in. Don't have to make it yourself. Real tasty. And then the main event. Everybody knows the Mystery Beer Machine. It's a hitter. We're getting people sending us stuff in. Send me your Mystery Beer Machine hits. We'll put them on the show. We got to give updates about what the consumers are doing, Got to show that it's a true formula that works. But I mean, if you don't want to get the Mystery Beer Machine, you don't want to risk the $2. They have over 100 beers to choose from. So you can get yourself a Voodoo Ranger. Get yourself a Stella. If you're feeling Irish, get yourself a Guinness. Just eat that beer, you know? It's something delicious. I love eating me a Guinness every night, right with dinner. So all you got to do, just do me a favor, go to the Folding Warehouse in Hamtramck or go to thefoldingwarehouse.com. This is Big D Energy on the Woodward Sports Network. We got Neil on the desk, D-Mac's back, Fish is swimming in his booth, making sure we sound good, and I'm in here keeping us live. Be right back.
Make sure you download the Woodward Sports app in the App Store and the Google Play Store today. Take Woodward Sports with you wherever you go and listen live on your phone or mobile device.
What's the over-under? Should I tease? Who is the lock of the night? Make sure you're watching Woodward Bets to get the latest in sports betting and more. Woodward Bets daily on Woodward Sports.
Back at it, Big D Energy, Woodward Sports Network, Neil Rule, D-Mac, Darren McCarty here in the house as well. Happy to have all of you with us. And yeah, it got heated there about the Baseball Hall of Fame discussion. Where was it here? On a YouTube chat thread. Remember, too, you can tap in with that. Gator Raider says, 91 to the rafters. I'll die on that hill. Tammy Chin, I agree. George Kell should have been done years ago. And that is egregious. That one's egregious, too.
Egregious.
Just as egregious as Sergei Fedorov is. And hopefully one day that gets rectified. Sergei,
I think it's more egregious. Honestly, I think it's more egregious for the time spent, for what he did as a player, for what he did as an announcer, for what he did for the organization.
Almost 30 years of service
That's
to the
what I'm saying.
organization.
I get,
and a Hall of Fame
did
player.
not leave. Right? There's no the way that he left and stuff like that. I think that's just more attuned to ownership at the time and appreciation. So now would be a great time.
Man, we're noticing a theme. With all that, man. I wonder what that connector is. But anyway, Sergei will have his number in the rafters eventually. I think it will be within the next 2 years. It's all going to depend on Mrs. Illich, and that again comes from Tammy Chin. There were people too talking about the Hall of Fame stuff and why Trammell's in and all that kind of stuff, and someone talked about Ozzie Smith winning 13 Gold Gloves. You know, that's cool if you're into marketing. That dude was a 260 hitter, man. A 260 hitter. Hit 28 home runs ever. You know, like if you're into marketing, you're into the backflips and stuff like that, then go ahead and fall for that. That's cool. And I'm not saying there's not a place for him in the Hall of Fame. But Alan Trammell's a Hall of Fame player too, and so was Lou Whitaker. That's it, man. One of the people talk about Joe Morgan and stuff like that. Yeah, Joe Morgan was a great second baseman. So was Lou Whitaker. And he was part of the most prolific double play combination in baseball history.
The most prolific double play combination. When you're the bet, didn't you start?
You know the double play?
Didn't you start the show talking about when you mentioned Dave Burkett, writer for the Freep and stuff like this, talking about Matt Stafford and just numbers, but not having the vote. But you're talking that Matt Stafford's going to get in because of his passing, air yardage and stuff. You're talking about a guy in the top 5. You're not talking about the best at all time ever over the duration plus the years they played together. You know, to me, it's just but in every sport, in every Hall of Fame or in every whatever, there's always somebody that you leave a head scratching. Right. That one just, and the fact that at the end of the day you go, well, he didn't get win a championship. Yeah, he did. He didn't. You know, like. I don't know. That one scratches my head, too.
Yeah. C.J. Schneider says, part of the Hall of Fame is integrity. And then Rob Swift echoes my sentiment, says, no, it's not. No, it's not. It's about what you did between the lines. Rob says, Ty Cobb's in the Hall of Fame had zero integrity. Didn't he punch somebody that was in a wheelchair and knock them out of their wheelchair? That was at a game? Like, he's in. Not a big fan of black people was Ty Cobb. Noted.
Well, just all the things that you even see is that Ty Cobb's the epitome of the Neil Rule athlete. I don't want you raising my kids. I don't want you around my family, but good player.
But you can't deny what he was.
You can't deny what he was, right?
Probably the greatest hitter to ever play for the Tigers.
So I guess is this the Hall of Athletic Human Beings, or is it the Hall of Athletic?
No, see, I guess this whole thing boils down to...
It's the consistency and the lack of it everywhere around and the different strokes for different folks.
My problem is it's the Hall of what fits our narrative.
That's what I mean.
That's what it is. Or it's the Hall of what we want to promote, or it's the hall of who I think was a good guy to me. And that's what it all boils down to. And Jack Morris had his problems with the media. Lou Whitaker had his problems with the media. Barry Bonds certainly had his problems with the media. And that doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It's the greatest player of all time to me. I mean, the numbers are astounding. I do that every so often. You go back and look at Barry Bonds' number, especially that run, if you guys want to call it, that run in the height of the steroid era where David Ortiz was involved with too, and so were the guys that were pitching to Barry Bonds, and so were the guys that everybody else was celebrating around Barry Bonds. You know, during the height of that, the numbers were ridiculous. And I'll say this, D-Mac, too, and I said I wasn't going to talk about the steroid stuff, but here's the deal, and I'm curious to get your take on this, because you were in professional sports in the steroid era of baseball. You were in professional sports too. The steroid thing, like, people think that you inject the steroid into your arm and then you go from hitting the ball 390 feet to 700 feet. Like, that's not what it is. You do the steroid so you can get on the field the day game after a night game. It's more
of a recovery.
So you play 160 out of 162 games, especially in baseball where it's a daily grind. Am I crazy when I say that? You tell me. You're the professional athlete. You were around in that time. I know.
I don't know.
I know you don't know, but I'm saying no.
Hockey isn't a steroid. Yeah, I know it's gone through a couple guys, but like this thing about the size, but it's not. That wasn't really the.
It wasn't the hockey thing.
It
right.
wasn't the hockey thing. Now, I'm sure that there was different guys. They say use it is like because of the size and stuff, but it doesn't benefit you because of having to be. I don't know. You just didn't find it in hockey, but baseball. Obviously,
but I guess this would have been a better way to ask you. How big is recovery?
Here's the whole thing. When we say steroids. There's not one steroid. It's like saying marijuana. There's not one strain. There's all different. You hear andro for building. You hear this for recovery. There's all different, but it's about poking in. Can much be about recovery as it is about gaining strength or endurance or doing stuff like that. So it all depends on how you're using it. Right, so the baseball players would use it differently than the bodybuilders.
Right, and on here too, Gator Raider says it. That's why bicyclists use PEDs. Higher red blood cell count helps you heal faster, and that's what it is. So recovery is the key to professional sports. Recovery
and endurance, right? If you're healthy, that's the whole thing. In all honesty, like that's the whole thing as far as you look at recovery or options in the organic and the plant medicine and stuff like that. It's allowing your body to work for itself, but it's all about getting your body to recover the quickest. When do you recover the fastest? When you're sleeping, right? Hence why CBD, CBN and stuff like that is sort of like along the lines. Now what the steroids and stuff does is just it like anything else, just speeds up the process of what your body's doing and what you're producing. So, but there's different things, I guess, what you would look for. And in baseball, it's obviously strength, but recovery. But in baseball, see, here's the thing, where it's the recovery aspect because being stronger, yes, probably hit the ball further, but it doesn't help your eyesight. You're not shooting carrots, you're not injecting steroid of carrots to make your eyesight Superman better or whatever like this. You still got to hit this ball coming in. So as far as what the athletic ability, I think it's misconstrued because the understanding is they're different sort of steroids. Like the Kurt Schilling, right? Or the Roger Clemens as pitchers, if they would have took allegedly things different than what a Barry Bonds would have took, depending on what you're fighting. So, it was around. And to say that you didn't know, and honestly, not in our room or locker room. They're this was more in junior, but I knew, in the other professional sports in the town that it was flowing through there.
Right, and that's kind of my point. Is it's not this,
but it wasn't. Not accepted. You made the greatest point, whether it was reporters reporting on this or whatever. The league accepted it. That's the whole part. How are you going to penalize something for where you allowed it?
Because you don't like that guy. because you don't like
That's
said
what it
person.
goes
And
down
everyone
to.
loved Big Papi.
Right.
Everybody loved him
That's
he was funny with the media and gave you good quotes, and that's my problem with it. They get to pick and choose who. That's my problem with it.
You're
it's
right.
not just between the
And
lines.
that's- and
It's
at the
because
end of the
who's
day,
a good guy, who's not a good guy.
Who do they want?
Integrity only matters when you want it to matter. That's my problem with it. And that's why, that's my issue. That is. The Denver Nuggets had an issue with Cade Cunningham last night, which we're going to discuss when we come back. But let me tell you about the Sports Marketing Agency. SMA has been leveraging pro athletes and other notables for a decade against the issues around mental health and substance use disorder. With the help of NFL alumni, Sean Jordan has been able to save lives and take a stand against these issues. Coming soon to Woodward Sports, the Sports Marketing Agency podcast. This is the F Word, a series on fentanyl. If you're struggling with substance abuse or mental health, they are here to help. Go to thesportsma.com. Again, that's thesportsma.com, the podcast. This is the F Word, coming soon to Woodward Sports.
6 dark corners, a driveway and a patio, 5 windows that could become doors. Every house has unique security challenges. Guardian Alarm has more tech, more team, and more ways to help keep them all safe. Get a professionally designed and installed security and smart home system from Guardian Alarm. Sign up today and get a free video device. Guardian Alarm. Smart, right from the start. Call 1-800-STAY-OUT.
No off season for us. We're talking sports 365. Detroit Sports Network. Woodward Sports.
Back at it, Big D Energy, Woodward Sports Network, moving strong here into the second hour of the show. Big hello to everyone listening on 93.5 The Roar, 99.1 FM, 94.7 HD2. Don't forget about the podcast page as well. Somebody earlier today was asking, where else can we get it other than the YouTube channel? Certainly you can go back and forth on the YouTube channel. But subscribe to the Big D Energy podcast on your phone. Rewind, fast forward, listen to the show on your terms. Go ahead, Bluetooth that thing in the car and roll out. Absolutely, you can roll out. With all apologies to Ludacris, you can roll out. But
roll out.
Yeah, Darren McCarty, Neil Rule, Sam and Sawyer here with you. I did want to talk about this because I think it might have gotten glossed over a little bit in the landscape of sports last night. For those of you that don't know, yesterday evening at Little Caesars Arena, Cade Cunningham popped off, had 34 points. 8 rebounds, I believe, 8 assists as well. Now, they lost.
And 4 blocks.
And 4 blocks as well.
First player since Michael Jordan in the 70s for that sort of stat line.
In a game.
Player in a game.
As a rookie. I mean, it is
You tell me, basketball guyer. You tell me. Because the biggest thing that I liked about yesterday's performance, where you look at it, it's unfortunate. Weren't allowed to, they did not win, but this shows it. Did you, Sawyer, I sent you something of my favorite non-Piston player. Remember this kid, Jalen Green? Did you see his stat line, Neil? Might you read that right there from last night?
11 from the floor, wow.
0 for 11, 0 for 6. He had like 3 points, 3 assists, 2 rebounds. And what's the quote say? I wanted to be the number 1 pick. Well, guess what, you doucher? Stay out of Dodge. Get out of the D. We got the Cade train doing his job. We're going to get him some help sometime soon. Hopefully Jeremy Grant gets moved on and we move into this. But, gosh, nights like last night, right into that good feels category about what's going on in the future. And, disappointing they didn't win, but, man, that would have been one to be down there for.
Yeah, I mean, and to be fair, too, the Denver Nuggets roll into town with, in my opinion, one of the best basketball players in the NBA. Probably doesn't get the credit he deserved, although he did win MVP last year in Nikola Jokic, and he had a 20-20 game, the Barbara Walters game, as I like to call it. He's incredible, man.
Because he's so big, right?
Well, he's a unicorn because you can run the offense through. He brings the ball up the floor at times. And probably the best passing big man in the league. That's why I always laughed at this in the basketball circles and all my friends that are in the basketball world. we would joke about this. We joke about it on Oakland road trips and stuff like that. We had a big Lakers fan that was in the travel party. And he would always talk about Anthony Davis all the time. I'm like, you guys, dude, give me Nikola Jokic over Anthony Davis 100 times out of 100, man. The dude's so versatile. I mean, he's fun to watch. I'm sad I couldn't be at the game last night because I'm such a big Jokic guy. But Cade Cunningham, man, absolutely popped off yesterday. And Dom Rivera says, I put money on Cade for Rookie of the Year after last night. And Dom, I think that's going to be money. That's going to be money well invested. Hope you popped on mybookie.ag to do that. But, I mean, D-Mac, it's clear. It's obvious. It took him a minute. And I know that society's changing. And again, I like to do this. I like having you as a resource because you live the professional sports life. And it's different because it's hockey and basketball. But when you show up on the scene, coming from college or coming from juniors, man, that stuff's a different world.
Oh, yeah. Man versus boys. You know, you're not doing the same thing. I think you see it and you find it more so. And basketball, with the way the one and dones are, so you got, you know, like, for lack of a better term, these teenagers coming out, they're playing against men. You know, what did I say at the beginning of the year? Wait till Cade Cunningham gets his man strength, comes into his man body. He's still got his, like, drafted LeBron. How effective is he going to be? So it takes some time to understand. Like, here's the difference, Neil. When you're 18, 19 years old and you're fighting 18, 19-year-olds or 17, 18-year-olds, and then all of a sudden you're 20 years old and you're fighting a 30-year-old that's got 3 kids and his old lady's yelling at you in the crowd. It's a different beast, bro, right? That's the real deal. So I think it's growing up real quick. I think that it's the maturity that really helps. I think I use the comparisons of, you look at the 1 and 2, you look at Jalen Green and Cade Cunningham, and the maturity is what you're seeing. Not only the ball game, but this maturity. If you watched last night, and it was mentioned in the comment, you know, Cade didn't back down from Jokic and actually had him falling on a 3-point step back, move later. So it's the confidence to know that he belongs in this league with these, playing against these big men, playing against these all-stars, Hall of Famers, and it's just something that you know what you got a centerpiece, and every time he gets out on the court, he's only going to get better because he's going to mature more. And number one, like I've always said, it's the maturity of this kid that I like the most.
Yeah, and you did.
And he's got game.
Yeah, no, you opened my eyes to that too, because I've thought about it, but I didn't think about it. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
But now you're seeing it come to fruition.
Right,
why.
Absolutely. And there was a maturity to his game even in college. I mean, I talked about that when we played at Oklahoma State last year. It almost seemed like he was a guy with his team where it was his team, and when it was winning time, it was time to roll.
You let me know.
And then he kind of, he got a dunk, and then he got a steal and a run out dunk, and the arena got going and everything like that. And before you know it, it was over. And he kind of closed the door on that. But what I love though is, and it's not going to happen every single time. It didn't, he didn't go 9 for 11 in the fourth quarter and come back and lead the Pistons to the victory. It's not going to be like this every single time. But there's that degree of his game where when it's all on the line, he raises his level of play. He does.
Here's the thing. You know what he's building into, and here's the long-term play. Everybody who watched that Tampa Bay Rams game, the Rams are up and whatever, you know that Brady effect. Don't count Tom Brady out until until the clock's done. Right? You can't, even though you want to, everything down to the wire, right? That's sort of what this kid, he's got. You know that when the heat comes on and when it's time to go, he's developing in. Because think about it, in 2, 3, 4 years, once he's developed the body and the confidence and stuff like that, that's leadership, bro. Yeah. Knowing how to lead other players and also knowing, what do you see from most young players? Is that they got one speed, go, 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 right? He's got more, the maturity is that, okay, I'll wait until it's the right time to go, right?
Yeah.
He works smarter, not harder.
Ryan's reaction says, how many free throws did Cade get? He didn't get any last night, but it's really funny because the Nuggets shot 31 of them and the Pistons shot 14 of them. And trust me, I know a little something about this. This seems to be unequal to me. I guess the Nuggets were just playing harder the whole time, right? I guess they were.
What's the Nuggets record in the league?
Well, and you have the league MVP. But that's fine though. You got to go through it.
Yeah, no, exactly. This is the time to go through it. And here's the thing: the perseverance. And what I like too is that you know what, these guys know it. Cade knows it. Cade, and here's the thing: is a lot of times, and other than and you know what, I wasn't here when you guys talked about him getting ejected or whatever like that, which was a joke. But it's just one of these things that you don't see him get rattled. But, like, he knows that it's going to turn down the road. He's taking this now going, okay, here's our record. Yeah, we're gonna eat it right now because you know what? In a few years, we're going to be getting these breaks because I'm not going to bitch and moan about it because I'm not going to make it something that other young guys do. And the refs are going to recognize, the league's going to recognize that.
And I do see, too, a lot of people pointing to the NBA draft because, that's the situation right now is where with the Pistons, the playoffs are not going to be in reach. So, naturally, I mean, that's the angle that you turn to. And as I sit right now, they do have the second worst record in the league. And for me, it's a two-horse race this year. My opinion, just me talking as a guy that watches college basketball the same way that you guys do. But there's the Bonchero crowd, and then there's the Jabari Smith crowd from Auburn. I know a lot of people like Chet Holmgren. I'm not as much of a fan for him. But with all that being said, I would like to see Jabari Smith with a little pick and pop with Cade Cunningham and see how that thing works out. I think Banchero is like an NBA-ready scorer to go in and get his and be able to fill it up. And either would fit very, very nicely with this Pistons organization. But this is where it is right now. And I said this, D-Mac, at the end of last year. I said this at the beginning of this year. The Pistons could be the same record-wise. The same, where they were one of the worst teams in the league record-wise. They could be the same this year and be a better team. They are a better team because they have that man on the floor. And this guy is going to be the rookie of the year. He is. And all the qualities that you talk about, he's going to be a good player because of all those qualities. There's a piece. It wasn't. People thought like you were getting LeBron or something like a franchise-changing dude, but even LeBron in the first year, didn't just come in and change the narrative of the Cavs organization. It is going to take a minute. It is. I know we don't want to hear that, but that's where it is.
Yeah, but here's the difference, though, is that I always thought, LeBron always at the beginning was always like the sort of the golden child. It was always the game. It was always just elite, comparable to Kobe and MJ and stuff like this. Cade Cunningham, not that. Cade Cunningham come in as the complete and the leader and the maturity. So it's the pieces to go around. So my question is who's not the best available? But I asked Neil Rule, who's the best complementary piece, not only with game, but with attitude? Who fits into because what you want is if Cade Cunningham, it's sort of like the Dylan Larkin. There's your leader, right? Now, who's your team has to have that Cade Cunningham or that Dylan Larkin-esque about them throughout the lineup, right? Even all of us, right? We still, whether he likes it or not, we got Eiserman stank on us, right? We're all a Stevie's guy. Whether he likes to admit it or not, you take it and you leave it, right? So Cade's going to have a D-Mac in there, whether it's beef stew or whatever it is, if that's the long-term case. But when you're talking about, and whatever sport we're talking about, building pieces, right? It's a lot easier to be a fan when the GMs hit on the ones they're supposed to.
Right.
Right? Look at what we're doing here with Sider, Raymond at this point, right? Comparable to Cade Cunningham.
I think it's safe to say Cade's a hit.
Right?
Yeah.
Even coming off, right? We're talking about, and I'll lead it back to the Stafford, right, in 2011 or whatever, was supposed to be this guy for us. And he's not that for us, and it's the breakup. It's the breakup of him moving on to something else that he was meant to be with somebody different because of the fact, and it's not a detriment, right? He did everything he could for this franchise. It just, the ingredients and the pieces of the puzzle all around him, as great as they were, it just didn't work, right? Now, he's got an opportunity, so that's the divorce. What we like here is we're from day one, from the ground, from building. Now, you look at Red Wing wise or whatever like this, Yeah, it's been tough. You look at your Zadina. You look at the different guys at the times where it's been a struggle when you don't hit on these guys, right? So now it's about building and moving forward, and I think that both the Pistons and the Red Wings have their pieces and their Larkins and their Cunninghams. So that's a good thing.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, if you look at it, too, LeBron's first year, the Cavs didn't make the playoffs.
No, and then he didn't commit. To me, I don't know. LeBron, leadership-wise, you know what I mean, is always more self-serving. I don't see Cade as much as that. You know what I'm saying? Like, bigger picture. But it's also, too, is having – there's more hype on LeBron and more cameras and stuff like that. Regardless to say, it doesn't matter if your name's LeBron, your name's Cade, your name's Dylan. Let's be honest. We like football. We like hockey. We like sports. We like it all. And we like things uncomplicated, like Lady Jane's haircuts for men. You walk in, you sign in, you sit down. Before you know it, you are handsome and clean. Get the Lady Jane's open 10 to 8, 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. It's wicked awesome. Big D energy here. Neil Rule, D-Mac, Sawyer on the ones and twos. Fish in the fish bowl. Rawr. We'll be right back. Woodward Sports Network.
Life is full of hard choices. We're here to make one of life's biggest decisions as simple as possible. My name is Christina Gennari, and for over 20 years, I've helped hundreds of families buy and sell homes. We cover all of Metro Detroit and more, from large luxury homes to starter homes. We will work hard to make sure that you get the home of your dreams. So if you're in the market today or even thinking about buying or selling in the future, make the obvious choice. Christina Gennari, the obvious choice in real estate. Visit us at soldchristina.com today.
Putting on a show here, and that's how you answer. We love our sports. We just wish they'd love us back. Detroit sports for Detroit sports fans. Woodward Sports.
Back at it, Big D Energy, Woodward Sports Network. Neil Rule, D-Mac, Darren McCarty here in the house as well. We got Fish, we got Sawyer. You know the squad that we have up in here. But we talked Pistons, obviously that big-time effort from Cade Cunningham last night. He popped off, man. He did. And made me feel really, really good about Cade. And that was a big-time game by him. Red Wings back at it tonight at Little Caesars Arena. And they'll be playing the Chicago Blackhawks on your mybookie.ag site. Red Wings a -115 favorite, so a slight favorite over the Blackhawks here tonight. Pretty much a pick 'em, though, D-Mac.
Yeah, exactly. On TNT.
TNT.
AEW. I'm making my way to AEW, boys. Look out. The TNT connection. No, obviously big game. Obviously where the Wings are at. And,
but they got,
I sit here every time and just say, well, here's the inconsistency throughout. But again, playing Chicago, the history over the few years and stuff should be a good game. I'm reading in the thread. I'm taking, some people taking Chicago, then other people thinking Detroit's going to mollywop them tonight and stuff like this. Anytime you got Patrick Kane and Jonathan Toews, you got to go against, dynamic duo. And that's what I mentioned, right? Where you see the dynamic duos on each team where you used to have that 1 and 2 offensive guys, right? We used to be the 20 years. Well, the new thing is offense and defensive guys. Right, where the new dynamic duo is like the Raymonds and the Siders instead of like the Tays and the Canes. So should be a good game. Boys should be ready to go. Different guys stepping up or not stepping up. And here, this is where we're gonna talk. You're going to ask me about Zadina.
And
all I'm going to say before you say, because we started this conversation during the break, and all I'm going to say is sometimes the hashtag wiser plan doesn't always mean the cup is full. It means the wiser plan, you have to play it out. And if that goes down, what you're talking about, Zadina, and you're losing fuel and you're leaking and you're not
leaking
happy,
oil right now.
You're leaking oil to yourself, right? But has the hashtag wiser plan showed you anything other than when he does, right? When he's giving it, and we're talking about giving up on guys. If you want to talk about Zadina, you want to talk about the DeKaisers, you want to talk about the guys who maybe haven't done what's expected of them. Well, you see what Steve Yzerman's doing. This will go to the extension of my conversation about picking up Jamil Smith, right? Is that he's looking to plug and place guys. So now that the foundation around is starting to come together of what he has, what he's gonna have, and what's out there, now's the time between now and the end of the year where you'll see if there's something left. But here's my thing to you, Neil, no matter what the name on the back of the jersey is, if Steve Yzerman keeps him around, #Wiser plan, there's a reason. Again, the Zadina situation is the same conversation as last year's Blashill. Why is he still the coach? Is he still the coach? Well, it's because Stevie says so. Well, why is Zadina? Because Stevie says so.
Okay, and that's fair.
So that's it. So you can, if you're going to sit on that, because at the end of the day, it's one of those things that could be, well, that stunk, right? And it's you got another Tatar or Nyquist or whatever like this that just moves on, or something happens and you're grateful that you stuck with it. So
sure.
Now's not the time
because we're at the halfway point of the season. I mean, we're just checking in,
but
we're just
it's
checking
the halfway
in.
point of the season.
We'll revisit it
this
in April.
Season doesn't matter. Just like 34 games, 2 seasons, they get the whole 82 experience this year. Right? Where they got the carte blanche. Moving into next year, into training camp, to whatever else, with the way the draft is, whatever, there's no like, things will be played out. Your narrative to see whether he's going to be here, whether he deserves to be here, whether he's going to get a shot, or whether they've moved on. It's all going to play out in the last half of this season. But this is the last caveat. It's sort of like the first year for the Lions. Lions still got a season left, while the Wings got half a season.
Sawyer put it up in our YouTube chat there. We closed out Have You Had Enough of Winter poll. We always have the YouTube poll that's kind of going on in the background. 68% of you said you've had enough with winter. I have too. I'm surprised it's actually that low. Who's closer to a championship in Detroit sports? That one's up on the poll right now. Red Wings getting a lot of love early on, and that's to be expected. I would think.
Here's the one thing too, Neil.
Yes, sir.
And I'll give it to the dabber. Zadina's 22.
Yeah, so okay, and that's fine.
So what I'm saying,
fine.
Right?
That's fine.
So that and all I'm saying to you is that plays in to the recipe.
I'm like a pit bull on the chain right now.
Of the #Wiser plan. It doesn't matter what it is. I'm just going to #Wiser plan. We can't talk about it until he makes a decision. We're not going to argue about it. We're not going to whatever else. That has a lot to do with it.
And I know everyone's going to say he's 22, and I understand that. But here's where I do step in, D-Mac, and here's my thought on it. Next year, the RFA year, restricted free agent, you're getting to the point. You got to start making a decision. Okay, I understand that.
#Wiser plan, has he frivolously spent money, given contracts, done whatever else, not only here in Detroit, but even in Tampa Bay? Never. Right?
Never does.
Do you think Philip Zadina would be the first one that he makes?
No, absolutely not.
So you get what you deserve in the Steve Yzerman. So that's why, along to the lines of the way that how the Guardian alarm Steve Yzerman with the money and the Red Wing organization. So that's why I'm confident.
But it's fair though, D-Mac. It's fair of me to ask the question, like when people say, "Well, he's
20
in the second
half of the year.
He's 22." Like to the response to people that say he's 22, okay, that's cool, but we're getting up to the restricted free agent year next year.
A
decision has to be made.
So
like you can't just kick the can down the road forever.
Quit. Stop with everybody else. When you're talking about this team, don't act like you're doing the rest of it. Do it with the guy that's there that we know. So you would. My rebuttal would be, so under the #Wiser plan, it looks like coming up on his restricted free agent year, it's put up or shut up because he ain't gonna give away anything else unless he's signed with a 2-way contract, or is Zadina one of these guys that 31 other teams says, we can fix that kid. We can fix, which gives you trade bait with everything else, which brings an asset, which you would want at least because what's done differently, right? You use a high draft pick, and you know what doesn't work out. At least you move it for an asset or whatever. So
that's why. And Zachary here in the YouTube chat thread, why would you trade him at his lowest value? And Zachary, I'm just bringing up the point that the RFA year's coming up next year. Like, I know everyone wants to buy in, and certainly Steve Yzerman has a ton of goodwill, me included. I mean, you can't question the moves that he made. You can't question the way he built Tampa or anything. You can't question that. And I have 100% faith, D-Mac, and that is why I'm not... and we joked about it and stuff like that. Zadina was my guy to watch, and that was kind of going to be my cue as to how the rebuild was going and all that kind of stuff. Look, for me, you can't just take that narrative and say, well, he's 22, or why would you trade him at his lowest value? The clock is ticking, like it is, and it's ticking for a lot of players. That's the nature of the beast. My thing is, do I believe in Steve Yzerman? 100%. Implicitly, yes. And he'll do what he thinks is right. However, you guys can't have it both ways. It is concerning for me, and I think that's fair. I think it's fair.
What's both ways? Because here's the attitude.
Like, you can't just say he's 22, he'll get it figured out. Just give him time. There isn't time. We're coming up on a decision year.
Who's giving it? It's not giving it. Here's the thing, Neil. It's like I said all along. Steve's you've got pieces in place. Now it doesn't matter if you're Philip Zadina, where you were drafted or whatever. If you fit a role on this team, you're that first overall sniper, all this jam is gone. You got to produce now because somebody else, all that shine has gone off. And how is that?
And
because you're only as good to your restricted free agent, all that stuff, because Stevie don't give it. And it's the hashtag Wiser plan.
And that's my point.
If you guys want me to put down a list of why it's hashtag Wiser plan, there are reasons, not just to say that. It's the fact of what it means, right? That first, that fifth overall, fourth overall, whatever it was.
That's gone now.
Dude, that's been gone for the last year. Because now, you know what? When he's out there picking guys off of different rosters to place in, that means that the structure of this team is almost in place. So you're either going to fill that role, you're gonna do it. And sometimes, you know what? The thing that was frustrating is because it's not through lack of effort or extra work put in or whatever like this. And it's not through... He gets opportunities and chances. It's just being able to cash it in and stuff like that. So him continuing to get opportunities means Stevie still believes that it's there. But trust me, the sand's turned over.
Right. And that's D-Mac. I'm taking the long way around here when I say this. I'm trying to prepare the people here that are saying, well, he's 22. Let him get him.
Why don't you worry about Okuda, who you picked third overall, that may never play a game in your organization for the Lions? That's the bad rub. Like, he's ahead of that, at least.
Yeah, but like Zachary here says, Zadina's 22 is a narrative now. It's a young man's game, but not everyone's going to pop like Raymond as a teenager. Late bloomers exist. You guys prepare yourself for that. If it's not going to work out, Yzerman will cut. He'll cut it. It'll be it. It'll be over.
Here's the thing, and it's right here, right, Zachary? Right? Here's the thing. You got his tag team partner coming back, who we saw last year that they played well together. Obviously, fellow countryman in Verona, right? Jacob Verona. That's probably what everybody in the building is waiting for, Verona to come back to give Zadina the spark. And if it does, and it helps, there's two guys you got going. You not only get one guy back in Verona, you get another guy in Zadina. So that is legit. That isn't a legitimate point. Let's see how Zadina and Verona, when Verona comes back, play together. So that could be the hashtag Wiser playing weight too, because he knows that also too.
Yeah, it's just my point of the whole thing is in 40 games, he's going to be on as restricted free agent in April. By the end of April, you have to take a look at Zadina and a real honest, hard look, which Steve Yzerman will. I'm not saying he won't. I'm just trying to prepare the people here.
But you might get to see what, right? And here's the thing. It might be one of these things that, with Verona, he puts in 10, 15 goals in the second half, and it's one of these things where you understand, okay, these two need to work together. I mean, they're only good. You never separated Draper and Maltby, ever, right? And different roles, penalty killing, stuff like that, but you never separated those two. I mean, there's tag teams in that ways, and it's easier to put a guy with them. So I'm eager to see when Verona comes back.
Okay, and again, that's fair. But we're to that point, guys. I'm just saying. It can't be all,
No, you could throw
kumbaya
the,
and happy action fun
you could
time
throw
all
the
the time.
green to the yellow. I mean, you could whatever the color scheme is. You're not red or orange yet, but you could be on alert. I mean, the dander's in the air.
Yeah, that's my point.
The dander's in the air.
I'm looking down the
It's
road
a
here, and
medium-
I'm not liking what I'm seeing right now, but you're liking what you just opened, because Cintron World is an
Fired up.
aspirational lifestyle beverage brand, a line of sparkling energy beverages, premium water, bottled water, and revitalizer shots, the official energy drink of the Red Wings, proud partners with the Pistons, and exclusively served at Little Caesars Arena. If you're looking for premium ingredients, long-lasting energy, balanced hydration, essential vitamins, and let's be honest, guys, you need great taste as well. Cintron is your top choice. Buy online at cintronworld.com with promo code RedWings10. Save 10% with shipping included. Drink it, live it with Cintron.
Okay, you thirsty little spin goblins. I want you to pedal into the next dimension. Spin it! Spin! Spin! Uh-oh! Carmen's falling behind. Let's give her the hiss of shame. Spin! Spin! Spin till you bleed!
Don't ride the bike of shame. Come to Planet Fitness and find your own lane with tons of equipment, free fitness training, and no hissing. Join today for just $10 a month.
Opinions are like ear holes, and we're putting ours in yours.
Well, that's not winning, Joy.
It's Woodward Sports.
Back at it, Big D Energy, Woodward Sports Network, Neil Rule, D-Mac, Darren McCarty in the house. We got Sawyer, we got Sam. People big fan of the dander is in the air.
The dander's up, my
dander.
dander. What is dander?
I don't know.
I'm going to look it up.
Epic says Zadina's in the bottom six for now, so it's not like he's blocking time and doesn't have a big contract, so we can afford patience with them. Well, Epic, that's my point. The patience runs out next year. Like soon, like 40 games from now. The patience runs out because financial decisions have to be made. That's the circle of life here. You know, like that's my point. That's my point in all this is you got to take a look ahead now and see what the story is and be honest. And that is, again, to reinforce it, that's why I really like Steve Yzerman a lot. I really like Steve Yzerman a lot.
Fan.
Because there is no Franz Nielsen candy being handed. Again, I apologize to bring those up. There's no Franz Nielsen candy being handed out, and there will be difficult decisions made. And people will look at it and see, wow, you know, Zadina got let go or Zadina got traded.
Here's how I would look.
He did.
I'm going to look at it opposite, right? Because Stevie's got no loyalty to Zadina because he's a Kenny draft pick. Right, so he sees something and he knows something and he knows there's a caveat there that he's trying to get this spark out. How many guys has he either seen by watching games or played with or whatever? There's something that's there that he thinks that he hopes can come out and capture. Now, here's the thing. There's a time window, right, where you got this time to perform, and if you can't, you're not in Steve Yzerman's time window, so don't be surprised if that happens, but I still think that there's a key with Verona. It's a check thing. It's a check thing, and I believe I'm waiting. February.
Okay,
so he's
soon?
skating and stuff like that. So I believe 25 games with these two playing together and whatever. If there's something there, we'll sit here and we're going, okay, I see it enough to want him for more time.
Yeah, absolutely. And now I have some time tonight, so I'll give the game a deep dive tonight. I'll be locked in to that one. So looking forward to it. And again, that's just something that's on my mind. I had to do the Zadina check-in. You know, it was big to me.
Well,
we're at the halfway home.
That's because you've been Zadina checked out for like months. We haven't talked about it. You've been avoiding it. It's one of those dirty, dark secrets.
4 goals, 7 assists, 11 points in 40 games, man. Wasn't what I was looking for. It was promising to start. You know, a couple power play goals.
So he only needs 3 power play goals to hit your mark.
Yeah, but he needs 16 more goals.
It's all right.
In 40
you never know.
Games. You got to be able to play to do that. Sean Payton abruptly stepped away from the New Orleans Saints, which was I think was newsworthy. If any of you guys missed that out there, that was pretty surprising, wasn't it?
Well, you know what was surprising, and this is like one of the things that was brought up, is that last week, there's odds Sean Payton to leave as head coach was would he leave? No was minus 3,000. Yes was plus 900. Somebody who picked that up, but interesting. Because the interesting thing is he going to go? Because I've heard rumblings he's going to go. He's going to go make his $5 million, dollars
doing
TV, or is there an outside possibility with the New Orleans connection that he's a guy that peeks his head in this organization in some facet, in some sort of way? Not saying offensive coordinator or anything like that, but consultant or somebody to help Dan Campbell move along. I don't know, on or off the books or whatever like that, but obviously, you know what? Here's the one thing. I got to give Sean Payton credit because he put all his chips in on the wrong guys once he lost Drew Brees and stuff like that.
It was over.
And it goes back. Well, you remember when Sean Payton was head coach in the Giants, he got his offensive duties taken away from play calling duties. So maybe this is cutting his losses, hanging his hat on Jameis Winston and Simeon and Taysom Hill.
Right.
Yeah, maybe it's time for something else. But also, too, it's been there a long time.
Ran its course, maybe.
It's if we say that, to hear it, it's sort of, surprising. But again, you look back, you go, no, that's ran its course. And it's almost like, great win-win for the city because when he was coach with going through the hurricane and all that stuff, what had brought it together. I mean, I think the city and him should be friends.
Yeah.
It's not like a firing, a sour leaving or something. I think might be a good new start for everybody.
Yeah, the problem for me is, and right away it popped in my head, where how could this affect the Lions? And not from what you had talked about, where Sean Payton, what could he do for Dan Campbell or anything like that. My problem is I think Aaron Glenn's going to get that job. Lions defensive coordinator.
Great call. Great call.
And
you know what? I can't be mad because if the conversation, because usually, and you know this, right? These guys being from New Orleans, Dan Campbell gets the job. Dan Campbell reaches out. Sean Payton and Aaron Glenn, obviously, they're friends or whatever. Aaron Glenn goes and proves, to me at least, he deserves a shot from what he did.
Doubt. And
right?
you can't hate on
and it could have been go do that, and then if you're ready, I'm going to back out, and you know what? It'll be your job. This could have always, if this happens sooner than later, right, Neil, then this was sort of the timeline that everybody knew, and this won't be a shocker to even Dan Campbell and stuff like that. But that's a great point you brought up. I never thought of that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm concerned.
The reverse Saints effect.
The reverse Saints effect. That's where it could be a problem. And I was looking at their financials for next season in 2023. They only have $25 million in cap space right now, but you still have to sign all your rookies. All the people that you draft. So you have zero cap space. You basically have this team coming back again next year with your rookies, and that's it.
So that would make sense in having somebody who's familiar with the organization being away for a year.
Yeah, and you look at, too, all their primetime players are all, the Cameron Jordans, Latimer, all those guys. Those are all defensive guys. They're in trouble with that Michael Thomas deal right now, and that's where the bill, the bill has come due. They can get out of it this year for $23 million in dead cap space. You know what I'm saying?
And it's almost like they got to seriously think about that because the hindrance of carrying on and being not only the detriment to the locker room or to the team, is that's an anchor and a weight that drags you down, especially when you only have a certain amount of time with your big dogs on the books, right? That could still, the Cam Jordans, the Latimers, the guys that are on the books, that the rest of them that can play. So that'll be interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. And keep an eye on what they do with Alvin Kamara as well. Kamara right now in the middle of a 5-year, $75 million contract. So it's just, for them, they're going to be very, very limited in what they can do in free agency. The quarterback situation is a disaster for them right now. That whole Taysom Hill $40 million contract thing,
don't get it.
I never understood that. From the second they signed that, I would have just spun it with Jameis Winston and moved on. That's
Yeah.
That's where you are in the game right now. So it is going to be a bad situation, whoever walks into there. And maybe that's why the Aaron Glenn scenario, they can say, look, the Saints have a very, very good defense. Very, very good defense.
Well, he knows it already.
Yeah,
right?
and that's where if he comes down there, maybe he can say, look, this is where we are. I could probably salvage the most out of this. I know we're screwed, but I mean, basically, I could salvage the most.
But
out
here's
of
the
this.
thing, Neil, that gets to me with when you're breaking this out is that this, if this plays out this way, it's already been thought about the fruition, the game plan down the road, right? You know what I'm saying? Like it's not going to be like the surprise. He's already thought about it. There's already been this. It's not like Sean Payton. It's not like Aaron Glenn wakes up today and goes, "Oh my gosh, Sean Payton just quit." It's sort of, these things behind the scenes are talked about, not talked about, allegedly or whatever like that. But guys, when big decisions are made like this, because there's so many moving pieces and because you're going against that, you need the familiarity, and you need somebody that's coming in there, not only knows the organization, but has all the guys on his side of the ball, right? You're bringing a defensive guy. He's got his guys. He's got all the money there. They're not going to look to the offensive as much. You're going to make them suffer a little bit more. Does that make sense?
No, it does.
Yeah.
No, it does. But he's, he's the most equipped for what they have, I think. So keep an eye on that. We'll see if Aaron Glenn gets that head coaching job and who they're in their market for and everything like that. But I know if you're in the market for security, D-Mac.
Oh, well, there's only one thing. If the Saints were smart, guardian alarm. They get it, whether for home or business. A good defense helps you feel secure. Guardian Alarm is state-of-the-art technology that helps you feel safe, all with 24/7 local monitoring. Guardian Alarm also has convenient features that let you check in on your home or business, control lights, temperatures, detect smoke, or even that deadly killer carbon monoxide. So, if you want to be a part of the Big D Energy Woodward Sports family, you can. But you got to call. So, give us a call today. 1-800.
Stay out.
That's 1-800.
Stay out. Get out.
Get out, stay out. Hey, Fish, they need to hear this back. All the people in the Birmingham roast. It's 1-800.
Stay out. Get the hell out. Get out.
Yeah, I guess it's just Grumpy Fish in the fishbowl today. Stay out of his fishbowl, but call 1-800. Stay out. Let them know. Woodward Sports set your Guardian Alarm. Your local security experts. Fish, I expect more next week.
Get away.
And there we go. Anyways, Big D Energy. We'll be right back.
Everything that we've hoped for, finally.
He's going deep, right side. Oh, that is Edwards out there. He goes up in the air at the goal line.
Hey, it's Brandon Edwards here, wanting to welcome the sports marketing agency to Woodward Sports Network, to the family. Glad to have you guys. For the last decade, sports marketing agency has literally leveraged athletes around issues such as mental health and substance abuse.
Listen Monday through Friday for Big D Energy live on the Woodward Sports Network with Stanley Cup champ Darren McCarty, former Lion Joik Bell, and the silky voice of Neil Rule.
Final segment of the show, Big D Energy, Woodward Sports Network, Neil Rule, D-Mac, Darren McCarty here in the house, Sawyer and Sam. Terry Foster will be in for D-Mac tomorrow as he closes up his business. Dealings. The man's about business. He's in business to do business. No, but D-Mac will be back in his regular rotational spot, his regular daily feature.
Taking
daily
my spot
fixture.
back. Pretty happy. A little bit of an update. Got this nice stool, and the chair hasn't broken, so pretty good. Pretty happy. Pretty proud. Pretty proud of the crew.
You seem happy.
Yeah, pretty proud.
Fish, you're over there in the bowl.
Yeah, I'm shocked that window's not dented.
The African Nations Cup soccer being played right now. You've been keeping an eye on that. Get us updated.
Well,
Who's
Neil,
playing? What's the score?
Ivory Coast and Egypt. So it's actually like two good teams, but I'm not gonna lie, Neil. I know why you don't watch. It's a little sloppy.
And Mo Salah's not playing in that.
No,
right?
he is playing.
Is he really?
Yeah, he's playing. He got a few chances.
It's must solid TV then.
Man.
No.
That bothers me being a Liverpool fan that he's playing.
I
in
know.
that.
Well, but you knew because he went to Africa, so you knew he was going to play.
Yeah, that's true. No, I knew he would, but you said it's 0-0.
Yeah, it's round of 16, so we got extra time. So hopefully we get a goal, but I don't know. It's a little sloppy. But
all right, okay, cool.
It's good soccer. Everyone should watch because it is a major tournament. Neil Rule.
No,
So,
I'm not watching that, Fish.
Are you gonna watch the final next week?
You'll be happy. This will be my ODU, Fish.
There's Pro Bowl next week.
When I woke up this morning, the Australian Open was still going on, and my guy Medvedev was playing in a 5-setter, played almost 5 hours.
Yeah, it was a good match.
I watched the end of that. So does that make you? Is that good enough?
Yes, that's good enough.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, whatever it is to make Fish. Don't forget Wings tonight.
Yes, sir.
Facing the
7:30.
Blackhawks, and also it's Wednesday. So you know what that means?
Yeah.
AEW Dynamite from Chicago, from Cleveland tonight, from the Guns. So should be interesting.
Myron Kidd says a white guy watching the African Cup of Nations is hilarious. I'm sorry, I don't think it's hilarious. Like Fish likes soccer.
It's an incredible tournament. I mean, a lot of upsets, a lot of red cards, a lot of craziness, people getting trampled over. It's a pretty incredible tournament. Well, maybe not the last part, but all the stuff on the field is incredible.
I got a quick question for you. I actually got a quick question for you two, Sawyer, stuff like this. Just because it's that time, whatever. Do you expect Tom Brady to return? And here's the thing: the first question is, is he going to continue? But does he come back to Tampa? If he does,
I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that.
Here's the thing: why I asked that, because usually when you ask that question, myself have an opinion. I don't right now.
I don't either.
I wonder. So that lets me know that I'm vibing. I'm feeling the vibe, that this is sort of the first time where I think that he's thinking about it, but I don't know if he's thinking about quitting or going somewhere else and trying to win, because I wouldn't put it past Tom Brady to go to a different team and try to win another Super Bowl with that team. We hear Aaron Rodgers and stuff to Tennessee and stuff like this. There's something in my brain that says, could Brady end up in Tennessee to be the quarterback? Is there a way, and without breaking it down or whatever, to me, it almost seems Tom Brady doesn't want to be a Buck anymore.
I do get that vibe,
right? I get,
vibe.
but this is the first time, Neil, that I've got that he might step away, he might shut it down. This might be the time, just from what I'm hearing. I just wonder what about you, Sawyer? Do you any inkling on that?
To be honest, I feel like if he stays in the league, he stays with the Bucks. But if he leaves the Bucks, he's retiring and he's done.
You think so? If I'm the Titans, man, I was the number 1 seed, and my quarterback cost me being the number 1 seed. I will do whatever. I'm pushing all in for next year. Be it Aaron Rodgers, be it Tom Brady, whatever. I'm pushing all in.
Do they have the money to blow on somebody like that, though?
I'll figure out a way.
Julio Jones, A.J. Brown,
I'll
Derrick
kick
Henry.
that can down the road. You know, I'll go all in right now. Because just those names you talked about with Julio Jones and Derrick Henry, I'm going all in right now. By whatever means necessary. Benji the Goat says, who are y'all most interested in seeing from the 3 Senior Bowl quarterbacks the Lions get to work with? Willis, Sam Howell, Bailey Zappi, all spread option, spread offense, shotgun guys working under center offense, interested to see. I would say on the surface, for me, it's Sam Howell, because I think there's a very real possibility the Lions draft him. I think it's a very, very real possibility the Lions take a quarterback with one of those first 3 picks. Again, we talked about this a couple. I don't know if you were here, D-Mac. You guys begin to wrap your mind around the fact that they are going to take a quarterback, and it's not necessarily because obviously they'll like them if they draft them, they'll like their skill set and everything like that. It's a discount to market.
Capital.
It's a discount to market. Draft capital takes all forms, D-Mac.
Because here's the whole thing, right, Neil, in what you're saying, because that's the draft capital buffer piece to get that $30-40 million to go out and get your Russell Wilson or go out and get your Aaron Rodgers or whatever when the time's right, when you're right there ready. That's the mindset, correct?
Yeah, absolutely.
So as long as you understand that it's a piece play, right? A piece play and somebody who is capable to get you to that next level. We still got a whole bunch of levels to climb here at the Lions, but again, it comes down to in Troy Weaver, in Brad Holmes, and Steve Eiserman, in Al Avila / AJ Hinch, who do you trust making the decision?
Yeah, Jake Wegener says, I'm fine with taking a backup this draft as a mid-rounder. It ain't going to go down like that, Jake. It's not. They're going to take one. Prepare yourself mentally, okay? Prepare yourself mentally for the show tomorrow. Terry Foster will be in with myself. Sawyer, you know the squad will be back. D-Mac, appreciate you. We will see you on Monday.
We'll see you
right?
next Monday, bells and whistles. If not, I might see you guys down at LCA tonight, or see you in maybe on Saturday. Everybody's coming down, RPW.
All right.
Deuce.
For D-Mac, for Sawyer, and for Fish as well. My name's Neil Rule. Thanks for listening and watching Big D Energy right here on the Woodward Sports Network. Well, see you later.
Gang, gang.
That's not winning, Joik.